Today I am making my pizza dough from scratch, and we're taking it outdoors to cook some pizza at the campsite. I start by pouring part of the water into a large bowl, just enough to dissolve the yeast easily and get the dough started. Then I add the yeast straight into the water and mix it well, making sure it's fully dissolved before moving on. You want that yeast evenly distributed, no dry bits left floating on top. Next, I add all the flour at once, no need to do it in stages, and start mixing by hand, slowly working it into the water. At first, it feels a bit dry and rough, but that's exactly what we want at this stage. We just keep mixing, turning and folding the dough in the bowl. Now I add the salt and the rest of the water, and start mixing again right in the bowl until everything is well combined. Once the dough starts coming together, I transfer it onto the work surface and knead it lightly, just enough to bring all the ingredients together. Now I cover the dough and let it rest for about 10 to 15 minutes because this helps the gluten develop a bit and makes it much easier to knead later. After about 15 minutes of resting, we can start kneading the dough. You can already feel how much smoother and softer it has become. It's holding together nicely and doesn't really stick to my hands anymore. That short rest really helped the gluten start developing, so now the dough is much easier to work with. As I knead, you can see how it stretches without tearing. That's a sign it's hydrated and elastic. I am using a simple push and fold motion. I pull the dough slightly toward me, then push it away with the heel of my hand, pressing it firmly into the surface. After that, I turn it a little and repeat the same movement from a different angle. As I keep kneading, the dough gradually becomes smoother and a little warmer to the touch, which means the gluten is getting stronger and more elastic. Now I shape it into one smooth ball, place it back in the bowl, cover it up, and let it rise at room temperature for about an hour. After about 1 hour, the dough has puffed up a bit. I wet my hands a little so it doesn't stick, then gently take it out onto the work surface. I shape it into a rough rectangle and divide it into 2 equal parts. Then I cut off a piece of dough, scale it to about 270 grams. Now we start shaping the dough into a pizza ball using a simple technique. I place the piece of dough on the work surface, put a few fingers of one hand in the center, and with the other hand, grab one side of the dough, stretch it slightly, and fold it back toward the center. Then I flip the dough over and gently pull it toward me, creating tension on the surface of the ball. This tension helps the dough hold its shape and develop structure. The goal is to form a smooth, tight pizza ball that will rest and become easier to stretch later. Now I place the dough into a lightly oiled bowl and cover it. I also want to show you this technique, where we shape the dough directly in our hands. I gather the edges of the dough toward the center using both hands, then gently pinch it between my thumb and forefinger and rotate it in a circular motion. This rotation creates surface tension on the dough, forming a smooth, tight ball. After shaping all the pizza balls, the dough is left to rest and ferment for about 20 to 24 hours at room temperature, around 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. It was such a beautiful sunny day, so I decided to spend it outdoors. And since I had already planned to make pizza, I thought, why not do it right here in nature? I brought along a few essentials: my gas pizza oven, nothing fancy, just one I bought from a supermarket, a camping table, a pizza peel, and some simple ingredients. While the oven heats up to around 420 degrees, I am setting up my little outdoor kitchen, getting everything ready for what's going to be an amazing pizza session. Of course, bringing everything out here and keeping the dough under control is a bit of a challenge. Things don't always go as smoothly as in a kitchen. But honestly, it's all part of the fun, and it makes the whole experience totally worth it. As you can see, the dough is a bit overproofed. It's been pretty warm out here. But don't worry, if you're making it in your kitchen, it should turn out just right. Even so, thanks to using a good quality flour, the dough still holds its shape perfectly and is super easy to work with. I've already placed the dough on the floured surface, and now I start pressing it gently from the center outward with my fingertips, shaping the edge that will become the crust while thinning the middle. After that, I lift the dough into my hands and gently toss it on the back of my palms a few times to help it expand. Then I transfer it from hand to hand, letting gravity stretch it a little more, creating a smooth, even round ready for toppings. Now I am starting to assemble the first pizza. I spread the tomato sauce evenly over the dough, which I've seasoned with a little salt, pepper, and some dried oregano, just enough to give it that classic flavor. I try to leave a small border around the edge for the crust. Next, I grate some Parmigiano Reggiano directly over the sauce using a micrograter, letting the fine shreds fall evenly across the pizza. For the prosciutto cotto, I simply tear it into pieces with my hands. Since we're out here in nature, I have to improvise a bit, but it works perfectly. Then I add the porcini mushrooms, arranging them so every bite will have a little of that earthy flavor. Finally, I finish with a touch of fresh basil. The aroma of the herbs combined with the mushrooms and prosciutto is already amazing, and the pizza looks beautiful and is ready to go into the oven. For the second pizza, I am keeping it simple but flavorful. I start by laying down pieces of the Spianata Extra Picante, a very spicy Italian cured salami, arranging them evenly so that each bite will have just the right amount of heat. Next, I add the low moisture mozzarella, cut into equal rectangles, and spread them evenly across the pizza to ensure it melts beautifully in the oven. Even though it's simple, the combination of the spicy salami and the rich mozzarella is really satisfying. This pizza is now ready to go straight into the oven, and I can already imagine the aroma once it starts baking. The oven has now reached around 420 degrees Celsius, so I turn the gas down to the lowest setting before putting the pizza in. I remove the door, slide the pizza onto the stone, then close it back up. At this temperature, the pizza cooks really fast. After about 20 seconds, it's time to give it a turn so it bakes evenly. I actually forgot my small turning peel at home, so I had to improvise and work with what I had, but it still does the job. Just another few moments, and the crust starts to puff up beautifully, getting that perfect golden color. The smell coming out of the oven is absolutely amazing. The second pizza goes in just the same way, a quick turn, and it's already puffing up beautifully. The crust looks pretty good, and the mozzarella has melted evenly, bubbling right on top. Just look at that, golden edges, spicy salami, and all those amazing aromas coming together. Time for the taste test. The crust came out thin and airy, with a nice chew to it, just the way I like it. The mozzarella melted beautifully, and that spicy salami brings in the perfect kick. Simple, flavorful, and so satisfying. And honestly, everything's better with a view like this. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.